Welcome back. In our top business story, Etihad Airways together with Virgin Atlantic Airways are said to be discussing a partnership to take over German Lufthansa's loss-making UK unit, British Midland International. That's according to an international paper. The Abu Dhabi government-owned carrier, due to foreign ownership rules, would not be able to make a bid for BMI on its own. Etihad would therefore need a partner to tap into BMI's European flight network. A local publication here in Dubai quoted a statement by Etihad saying that it didn't want to comment on these joint bid speculations, but that Etihad regularly talked to many airlines on future business opportunities. BMI, which is owned by German Lufthansa, has been on Virgin's radar for more than a decade, partly due to its slots at London Heathrow Airport, where it controls around 10% of the takeoff and landing rights. The Dubai International Financial Centre has signed a technical cooperation with the Dubai Land Department. The agreement will see the DIFC's real estate register use the DLD's electronic system for registrations as well as the authorization of formation, transfers and amendments. The DLD will provide the regulation of owners' associations for jointly owned property as well as surveying and issuing field maps for units. The CEO of DIFC, Abdullah Mohammed Al-Awar, stated that the agreement shows their efforts to enhance the level of service on offer to investors as well as to benefit from the DLD's world-class system in real estate regulation. UAE non-oil foreign trade rose 14% yet last year, according to the latest statistics from the UAE's Foreign Trade Ministry. The total value was recorded at 754 billion dirhams, up from 660 billion the previous year. Exports jumped 27% to 83 billion dirhams and re-exports were up 36%, and non-oil imports rose by 8% year-on-year to 485 billion. In 2010, India, China and the United States were the key exporters to the UAE, while re-exports, the bulk of the UAE trade, were led by India, Iran and Iraq. As for commodities, gold and diamonds made up the largest part of trade, followed by cars and mobile phones. Here's a number for you. The trade in Dubai gold securities on Nasdaq Dubai reached 8,761 in the third quarter this year. That's a rise of 1,280% from the first two quarters combined. With that, let's now look at the stock indices across the GCC. In our world business news, G20 financial leaders in Paris concluded their meeting by promising to take action to maintain stability and restore confidence in financial markets, which have been battered by fears that Europe's debt crisis could tip the world back into recession. French Finance Minister François Baron said the G20 will do everything to maintain stability and restore confidence. The draft communiqué of the meeting said the G20 would maximize the impact of the European bailout fund, the EFSF, in order to prevent contagion. The make-or-break moment in the two-year-old crisis could come at an EU summit later this month. Meanwhile, the United States is keeping up its pressure on the Europeans to act more decisively to rule in the EU debt crisis.
I am encouraged by the direction, by the speed at which they're moving now, and by the shape of this emerging strategy. But as you know, it's all in the details. And it's very hard to judge what impact something will have until you see its basic shape. But I want to repeat what I said in my statement. If you look at the history of Europe and this great endeavor of European integration over the last several decades, when France and Germany agree and when they commit, they're capable of doing extraordinary things.
Spain's economy minister defended her government's economic reforms and said that Standard & Poor's decision to downgrade Spain to AA- from AA has been influenced by the conditions in the Eurozone, and Spain's credit rating was still of excellent quality. Elena Salgado said S&P had not given the government's labor reforms enough weight in its decision. S&P, on the other hand, whose move mirrored that by fellow rating agency Fitch last week, cited high unemployment, tightening credit and high private sector debt among reasons for cutting the nation's long-term rating. At above 21%, Spain's unemployment rate is the highest in the European Union. India's inflation exceeded 9% for a 10th straight month in September, putting additional pressure on the country's central bank to tighten monetary policy further. India's benchmark wholesale price index last month rose 9.7% from a year earlier after a 9.8% jump in August, according to Commerce Ministry data. For India's central bank, that price rise is still above the comfort level. Therefore, economists expect the Reserve Bank of India to again raise its repurchase rate at its next meeting end of October. Before we go, here's a quick overview of the oil, precious metals and currency markets, and after that we have the day's sports news for you.